Hi, and welcome to my office, 2 p.m. I'm Dr. Jess Vega.
And I'm Ayana Higgins.
Okay, so let's get into it. I was talking with a coworker yesterday about um, showing up for other people, right? Like how at times we, um, have to feel as we feel as though given our certain backgrounds, her and I specifically were talking about like our trauma responses and how you know due to certain traumatic backgrounds, you know certain people tend to be people pleasers and stuff like that, and how some of those qualities play out in relationships, and how the people pleasing ends up being you know, the people fixing, right? Just kind
Mm-hmm.
of fixing, other people's problems or situations that they're in, feeling the need to find solutions for everyone else's matters that they're going through. Um, and yeah, we tend to do that. I think a lot in our community in general, right? We tend to um, if we do open up to one another, um, we do tend to have that unsolicited advice norm where
Mm-hmm.
it's like, oh, well, we go into like action mode. It's like, well, girl, what you need to do is this, right?
Yeah.
Um, but that doesn't necessarily always kind of pump us up, right? Or bolster us or make us feel good, right?
Mm-hmm.
Sometimes that unsolicited advice comes off as maybe at the moment is read like, oh, you don't think I know what I'm doing, or um, you
Yeah.
don't think I'm capable of handling, my situation or something like that. It'll get misconstrued. Where
Which
in
is
reality, it's
another argument.
right, exactly,
Yeah.
right? It's coming from a genuine place of, of
Mm-hmm.
help or whatever, kindness, but it's being received like, oh, I'm not capable. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Um, and so, just kind of being caught in that really weird space where I feel as though I need to fix this for them, but I know that if I try to fix it for them, I may offend them. And at the end of the day, it's not my job to fix it for them, right? They really need to fix it on their own. This is a
Mm-hmm.
they issue, not a me issue, not an us issue.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Um, and so drawing those lines and how complex those things can be, but how there are other ways, right, of kind of being there for whatever your partner, your friend, whatever loved one, family member, in terms of presenting just positive support, right, as opposed
Yeah.
to just solutions, right? Because sometimes solutions come off, like I said, they can get misconstrued. So I think that the idea of ways in which we can truly pump each other up, right? And not gas each other up. That is definitely not what I'm talking about. But I'm talking
Mm-hmm.
about like truly supporting each other the way that we want to be supported, in a way in which we feel is genuine and authentic, so that then we actually believe it, so that it actually works. So that's a tall order.
Yes. And I've been telling people for years, and I've always come off like when I tell people, it comes off a little bit ungrateful, but it's kind of like when you get a gift, right? And you have no interest in like football, but here you are with a fucking Bengals jersey, and it's like the person loves football. It's like, well, I thought, but like, and it's a gift. It's like, yeah, but it's not tailored. It's not something I would want. So I feel like a really good gift that you could give this season is to ask people kind of
Hmm.
how can I show up for you?
Yeah.
Because like you said, sometimes people don't want the unsolicited advice. It's like take offense to it. Sometimes it's just an ear to listen. Sometimes it's just, hey, can you help me see something from a different perspective? Like And then also like with love languages too. Like I feel like if you can't love someone in their language, then you're
Yeah.
always gonna come up short. It's unfortunate. It's all like, well, it's like, well, I just love the hugs and the hand holding and things, but it's like, what if I need someone just to kind of pump, like, pump me up?
Yeah.
I need someone to really get me out of my head, like words of affirmations, things like that. Like that means more.
Mm-hmm.
So yes, and with the holidays being as they are, it's like I think that that is the best gift you could give somebody. Is just showing up because it's been a long ass year.
Mm-hmm.
And the last, I mean, Christmas, I get it, but like buying gifts is stressful. it's like
Yeah.
it's like I got work, I got people, I got school, and it's like no. How? Yeah, like me to you. How can I show up for you on this phone call? How can I? What do you need to release off your mind that I could assist with? Yeah, because
Yeah.
I think just basic presence and attention and
Mm-hmm.
consideration.
Yep.
I think we
Absolutely.
all need it right now.
It's been a really long time. You were just talking about buying gifts is stressful. It's been a really long time that I've actually had a Christmas list.
Mm-hmm.
A long time ago, I just stopped. I just couldn't do it anymore because it was so incredibly stressful. And I remember I was in a relationship at the time that the person really prioritized the Christmas list
Mm-hmm.
um, beyond household responsibilities, and I'm the complete opposite. I have no problems not buying a gift because I have to pay a bill, and so which rightfully so. At least I think so.
Uh-huh.
Um, so I got this really just awful experience around like, the Christmas list and the gift buying and all the stress around it and,
Mm-hmm.
whatever. So I just stopped. I stopped for several years buying gifts for just anyone. Like I just stopped buying gifts. Went on like a like a gift like gift
Strike.
giving.
Oh
And,
boy.
and I also made sure that people wouldn't give me anything. It's like people would
Yeah.
ask, "What do you want?" I'm like, "No, nothing. I'm not. I'm not doing gifts this year. Don't
Yeah.
worry about it." You know what I mean? Like, no worries. I don't need anything. I'm good.
Mm-hmm.
Now the way I do it spontaneously. I literally just do it. I buy a gift for those that I like. If I just feel it, like,
Yeah.
oh, I want to buy you a gift this Christmas. Like I bought two of my coworkers a gift. I'm not the person that buys gifts like that for all my coworkers and all that stuff. And not because I'm like, a Grinch or anything, but it's just that's a lot, you know what I mean? So,
It
but
is.
these two people, I wanted to get them a little something. And it was just a little something. I got one, a mug, and the other one I got them a poster for their office. But it was just a little something, but it was a gesture that I wanted to make specifically because of our context and everything, okay?
Yeah.
Um, and like I have, a few people that I'm getting a few things for, but not like everybody in my world is getting a gift per se. Like I don't make it a thing like that, where it's
Mm-hmm.
like, oh, every year we're gonna get a gift from Jess. Like it's not like that. Like you'll randomly get something from me, you know what I mean? But I don't make it a priority, I don't make it a tradition. Gifts a tradition. Um, and so my wife and I do the same thing. We don't necessarily prioritize gifts during this season. And so, and we can't hold water for anything. So basically, we'll get we'll decide, are we going to do gifts?
Mm-hmm.
And if the answer is yes, we'll just, as they come in, we'll just, as Amazon delivers them, we open them.
You got like 12 days of Christmas. You say, oh, unboxing. That's cute.
Oh, look, I think this one's for you. You could go ahead and open it.
Because I'm not wrapping it. Amen.
All right.
See, it's too much. It's too much, but that's cute. Mm-hmm.
You know, and then sometimes something doesn't come in time and you have, Christmas until January. You know what I
Yeah,
mean?
yeah. Let's keep the spirits going into the new year. Yeah, and then also with the whole gifts, I mean, I think it's just America too. Like the
Yeah,
whole
yeah,
buy, buy, buy. Like it's just it's sucked out the actual meaning of what a gift could be. It's
yeah,
pressure to accommodate for everybody, and then like you start the new year
yeah.
overdrafted. Like it's not. No, 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 no.
And it's for nothing, right? Because, you end up giving, these gifts to these people that you
Mm-hmm.
don't necessarily have genuine connections with. You're just
Mm-hmm.
like
Just want
making this
nice.
gesture just to make this gesture, right? For
Yeah.
appearances, for optics or
Mm-hmm.
obligation, right? Whatever. Again, appearances, optics.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, and what does it mean? You know, I think the visual of a gift that you don't want, getting back to what you were saying, how we should really communicate with each other. Like, what is it? How can I show up for you, right? The visual of a gift that you don't want sitting like in the top right hand corner of your top shelf of your closet, you
Mm-hmm.
know, and then it being repurposed and regifted to someone
Yeah.
else. You know what I mean? It's like that visual is the most shallow,
Yeah.
empty transaction. You know what I mean? And
Yeah.
so that, I mean, at the end of the day, it it can boil down to just that. It can be just as flat as that, where we're
Mm-hmm.
literally just exchanging goods. It's a transactional thing,
uh,
right? It's a holiday transaction.
yeah. Yeah. From like a student's perspective, because I mean, as a student, that was kind of stressful buying gifts too, especially with like your minimum wage job and then trying to make it back to the holidays. Like, what's a gift you'd want your students to give themselves this month?
That's an awesome, awesome question, Ayana.
Yeah.
Um, yes, I think. Okay, let me think about that. All right, so I'm not going to limit it to one. I'm just going to say I think a couple of things that I would like students to give themselves this holiday season. I think the first thing that I would like students to give themselves is that I would like to students to um, understand, get to know, get in touch with their little person, right? Their
Mhm.
little version of themselves. Okay, so for me, it would be my little Jess, right? Little 4 or 5 year old Jess, 6 year old Jess, whatever that little girl is that still lives inside of me. And so for you, that may be, right, little John or little, you know, Sarah, whatever. And get to know them a little bit, enough so that you can gift them something this holiday
Mhm.
season,
I love
right?
that. Yeah.
So, and that could be, and I'm not talking about like, the adult version of, okay. Well, I would give, uh, little John a toy car. So I'm going to go buy myself a car. No. I mean, go to the toy store, right, and get yourself, a Matchbox,
Mhm.
right? Or go get, a model car that you want to build or something, right? But it has to be something very age appropriate, right?
Mhm.
So buy something for your little person inside of you. Okay, give them a gift. Maybe something that you always wanted as a child that you couldn't get for whatever the reason. Okay.
Mhm.
Or maybe do something. that you wanted to do as a child, right? That maybe you can do now. Whatever it is, it could be an activity, it could be an outing, it could be a trip if you have those resources.
Yeah.
Um, whatever it is. So take care of the little person inside of you. I think that's the number one um, thing that I would want my students to give themselves. Um, all students to give themselves. Um, yeah. And for those that are thinking, that they're either too cool for school to do this kind of thing, get it together and do it because you were once a child. Okay? All right.
Mm,
So, and then the other thing, um, I want students to give themselves is time. Time, I think, is important. I think that I watch students go, 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 go. I mean, they're just going all the time.
yeah.
And I understand that because I was that student too, shit, I was that adult, all the time. Um, and sometimes we need to slow down and just be with ourselves, okay? So taking some time for yourself to just kind of check in, you know? Take yourself to a movie, right? Take yourself, I don't know, on a bike ride, chill in your room and watch TV, listen to music. Give yourself some time where you're not tending to anyone else, where you're not tending to a device. Okay? Like, unless you're just watching something, but you're not like texting somebody. You're just dealing with you. All right? You're just hanging out with you. Okay?
Mhm.
Because I think that one thing that is lost today is reflection.
Like self, what you mean?
Yeah, a lot reflection, self-reflection, um, and just reflection on everything, things that we do, things that we see, things about ourselves.
Yeah.
I feel like there are a lot of college students are very asleep at the wheel in terms of, and I'm not talking about wokeness in any way, shape, or form. I'm specifically talking about just not being in touch with themselves and just being these machines of production, right? Just I'm kind of going, going, going. I'm doing this activity, that extracurricular, this class, that class, this job, that job, and just going, going, going. And it's like, do you ever just stop, you know, and just take a breath, maybe take a bath, for maybe like 30 minutes in a
Yeah.
bathtub with bubbles in it, you know what I mean?
You.
Or, whatever it is, read a book, like a fiction book
I
that
need
or
to.
a comic book, I don't know.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying?
Just seeing who really figure out who you are outside of your titles.
Yeah.
Yeah. It's like so when you're not a student, what are you doing?
Hmm.
What do you enjoy? You know, and that took me a long time to figure out too, because for like the last 20, I don't know how long I've been in school. I feel like I've been in school since birth, but it's like you make your whole life. Like my whole life was student and daughter. Those were my two titles, and then once I started, and I mean, like when you put your whole everything into these two, it's like you don't really realize what you enjoy outside of that. So then I had to really reflect on that this year. And my little Yana, Lil Yan, that's my rap name. But
Little Yana.
I'm telling you, and that has made like all the difference. And I'm still learning, like what I can enjoy, what I want to enjoy, and like what I want to be, who I want to be in the new year. Like for my vision board, I don't know if I told you, but like I've always had things that I wanted. Like I want car, I want house, I want, but I'm like, do not that I'm unhappy. Like I don't know how to describe it. I don't want to say I've been unhappy with myself this year, but you know, you're online, you see people, and like you go out, and it's like, but I know I could be so much cooler. I know I could be so much happier, so much. So it's like, what do I need to implement every day to make sure that I become that person? So
Mm-hmm.
that's going to be my vision board for the new year.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. So, yeah, you said so many things. Um,
Be who you are.
so many things. You said so many things. Yeah, I think that the roles that we play, and I think this goes back to our one of our previous topics in our previous episodes, where we were talking about identity and something regarding the roles that we take on in our lives,
Hmm.
something to that effect. Um, but I think that plays into what we're talking about now, right? Because we are so, like, our minds are so saturated with what we do for others, right? Like
Hmm.
what we're doing for our families,
Yeah.
right? What we're doing for our what we do within the different spaces that we're in regularly, school, work, right? Whatever other community spaces we're in, church or whatever they are, right?
Yeah.
And but then what happens when all of that shuts down, right? When all of those places close, all of the lights are out and it's quiet and it's just you, right? Like,
Hmm.
how would you spend your time, you know? Um, a couple of years ago, I started taking myself on retreats, personal retreats, right?
Hmm.
Just, and that's just, my silly bougie way of saying, that I take myself away for a couple of days by myself. Um, you know, either
Yeah.
to a hotel or, I love going to Airbnbs, cute Airbnbs and stuff like that. So, but I'll just go by myself for a few days. And the first time I did it, and I was excited to do this, to try it to begin with. So I know that this is a really uncomfortable space for a lot of people,
Hmm.
but I was excited to do it to begin with. But I knew that there was some discomfort around the idea of being by myself. You know what I mean? But I was excited to do it because I think I had gotten to a point in my life where I could see the value in it, right? But
Yeah.
doing it earlier in my life, no way. This is not something I would have explored. However, I wish I would have. So this is why I'm talking about it today.
Hey. Hmm.
So it was one of the most transformational experience I had ever had. And yeah, I totally wish I would have like started doing that when I was much younger.
Right.
Um, Especially in college when you're around so many people all of the time. You know what I
Mhm.
mean? Like all the time. There's people around you all the time. Whether you live at home, or you're on campus or you live off campus, it doesn't matter. There's people around all the time, right? So
Hmm.
really, having time for yourself, um, and then realizing who you are and how you would spend your time and what your preferences are and all of that
Hmm. It's like
is
a solo
is
hibernate.
yeah, and it's challenging,
Yeah.
and because it's challenging, it becomes frustrating because like, oh my goodness, how do I not know this about myself, and so when I got older and I started really paying attention, right, and taking the
Hmm.
time to reflect, right,
Yeah.
not only on things that I was doing but on, you know just on a lot of things about me,
Hmm.
and really taking time for myself, um, because I was actually doing I was my life was really overly consumed by work and school. I was particularly during in my 40s when I was doing my PhD is when I really got to know myself really well. So you can call me a late bloomer in that sense. But before then, it was just me doing for others, right? I was in a industry career where it was, very fast paced, and
Hmm.
it was I was in a service position in terms of, I had clients that I would service, and in the field of advertising and marketing, and so it was always doing for others in some capacity, right?
Yeah.
And so my time was always just left for resting. Right?
That's what I like. See, and that's when I knew I had to figure out what I like to do. Because I think earlier this year, like way in the beginning of this year, I had a coworker ask me like what do you do like for fun out of work? And I mean, sleep, dead ass sleep. But it's like, wait a minute, that can't be. But I could not think of anything else. I'm like, no, I mean, play a role here, drive, play a role here, drive, get home. There's the day's over.
Day's over.
Clean up, eat, and hey, I love my sleep. I love my bed, and it's like, okay,
Hmm.
who am I in between? you know.
Absolutely. That's a very good question. And so when I started asking that question, I discovered a whole bunch of things about me. I love arts and crafts. I never in a million years would have ever guessed that I love arts and crafts. Like, that's crazy. Now I say I love. I'm not saying I'm good at. I'm saying I love, right? And so I
Mhm.
love that. I love arts and crafts, and I never in a million years thought I learned that I love kayaking. Now, let's just audience, let me just remind you, I'm a little girl from the Bronx, okay? We don't kayak, okay? So, but I got to Austin, because I went to UT for my PhD, and I went kayaking one day and literally fell in love. Like, who would have thunk? But I discovered that because I forced myself to take time for myself, and I'm like, oh, I'm just gonna try this. Everybody in Austin, tries the kayaking on Ladybird, right? Okay,
Mhm.
and yeah, it was not just the afternoon activity; it was actually a moment for me, to realizing that the water was like a really magical place for me, and being on the water in that capacity, like in a boat, like in a little boat like that. You know what I mean?
Mhm.
So getting to know yourself is can be really fun, but it also can be a very daunting thing, because when you ask the question, you think you're gonna have an answer, but when you realize you don't have an answer, you're
It's
like, what?
yeah. I had to sit at my desk real quiet for a moment. I was like, golly. And it's
Yeah.
just crazy what things you do find out that you like about yourself that just are just so incredibly healing, and they can just be so incredibly simple.
Yes.
And it's like it's just you setting aside that time to really sit down with yourself. It's like, okay, little me, what do you like? What do you want to do today? You
Yep.
know. So I think that's a gift. Um, I mean, like I said, daunting, easier said than done. But like, we gotta get selfish. You gotta get selfish about you because you gotta put in this. This is gonna require time out
Yeah.
of your schedule to set aside for you to put
Yeah.
yourself first and to just really increase your quality of life. You know,
Yeah. Yeah.
like
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
so. Yeah, let's get selfish, man.
Yeah. And
Yeah.
I'm doing it. I'm doing it. So like I want, I want audience to know that I'm doing it myself. Like I'm gonna start dancing again. And
Yay!
right? And so like the dance fitness, right? Not like, I'm not going to
Yes.
the studio or anything like that. But
That's good.
but like I'm gonna do it because I know that that was a big part of me when I was a kid, younger, a teenager,
Mhm.
whatever. And it always stayed a big part of me. I just life, right? And how can you do something for whatever it was, 12 years of your life, and then it just go away, you know? And so I started following, um, women on TikTok that have gone back to dancing at, post 40, you know, post 50, um, after not dancing for, 20, 30 years or whatever. And they've inspired me so much. Because I was like, I really did feel low key alone, thinking, man, I really wish that there was like this magical, like adult, geared for adult dance classes, whatever, whatever.
Mhm.
And it is really tough to find dance classes for geared towards adults, and that's why I'm going the dance fitness route. But because of that, there are so many women out there like creating content. Um, on social media, like
Mhm.
tutorials and like classes for
Yeah.
free because,
Mhm.
there aren't classes for women like me out there that just want to do it for fun and, you know, maybe we have a little bit of like, ability, like, we don't necessarily have two left feet or something like that. We can actually, you know, keep up with a little bit of choreo, learn choreo, whatever. So
Mhm.
it's been amazing. Like
Um,
it's been really incredible. Like I have found an entire community of women like me that are like really wanting to get or have wanted to get back into dance, and they have, and
yeah.
now they like, you know,
See, and that's just an added bonus because not only are you giving yourself the hobby that you always enjoyed, there's a community that comes with it. So now you
yeah,
got people
yeah,
with you. Like
totally,
there's not a benefit.
yeah,
In my
yeah,
opinion, to not get started on
yeah,
and
yeah. So I'm following these two. Um, so one is a dance fitness, just a fitness instructor.
Mhm.
She's out of Fort Worth, Texas.
Yeah.
Um, I think it's at, wait, let me get it right because I want to give her the proper shout out. Um, she's awesome. And that's another thing when content creators like actually, oh, look, she popped up first on my feed.
See.
Lace Up Cardio Dance. So that's Lace, Lace, up Cardio Dance, on Instagram. Okay, so Lace Up Cardio Dance. And she's in Fort Worth, Texas. So for you guys looking for a really amazing dance fitness class in Fort Worth, her name is Lacey. She's brilliant, incredibly talented, and her energy, she's just a beautiful, beautiful individual. Like, so I'm a member. She has you can uh, become a member, and she has all of her classes and stuff posted on her page. And so I'm a member. That's how I'm gonna be taking her classes. Um, and I've spoken with her. Um, actually had real dialogue. Typically when you say things to like content creators, they don't really, talk back to you or whatever. Like, they totally Hollywood you or whatever. But she actually, speaks to her people, But
Okay.
so, yeah, she actually invited me. I said to her I was going to Austin in January, and that I really was tempted on renting a car and driving up to Fort Worth. She was like, "Well, if you do, classes on me." So it was really, really sweet of her.
Oh, yeah.
I know. So I'm like, I'm thinking about it. I'm like, maybe I should make it a road trip. I'm going to be there for 2 weeks, so I do have the time. So we'll see. And then the other person is, oh gosh, she has a really comprehensive YouTube channel. Oh, here it is. On Instagram, she's dance remix nat. It's dance underscore remix underscore nat. Her name is Natalee with two E's at the end. Chiodo, and I'm probably mispronouncing that, but it's spelled Chiodo. Natalee, Natalee. last name Chiodo. And her handle on Instagram is dance underscore remix underscore nat. And she learns the like popular like choreography on that we see on social media and whatever,
Mm-hmm.
and breaks it down for us. And when I say us, I mean ladies like me. And so she's awesome. Like I'm not sure where she's from, but anyway, like I saw her one of her videos for the first time the other day, and I just had a moment, you know? And I said to her, I'm like, wow, like you really have inspired me. Like, thank you so much. Like I have brought you into my life. And she replied, you know, and we had some conversation, and I found out that all of her content on YouTube is absolutely free. Like she hasn't monetized anything.
Really?
Yeah, so or at least that I can tell, but the YouTube channel is definitely free. Um and so yeah, it's great. I mean, it's just wonderful. So, yes, I'm excited about that. So I'm practicing what I'm preaching here, you guys, is what I'm trying to say.
Yes.
Definitely practicing what I'm preaching. You know, I'm doing I'm taking time for me. That's something that's just for me. Um so much for me that I'm doing it at home, kind of in a weird public way because I'm doing it in my back patio, but whatever, it doesn't really matter. That's not
Yeah.
that's not here or there. But I'm doing it at home. I'm not even going to a studio or anything like that. It's really just for me. So,
Yeah. I think I ever since we started talking about like video games, I think it was in a previous episode too. Yep. I think I'm like gaming a little every day, and I'm just like,
mhm.
it's just cute. Like it does bring like a little sparkle back into your day,
Yeah.
and it's just crazy how simple, you know.
Yeah.
So yeah, I think we all should get obsessed with a couple hobbies in this new year.
Yeah. Yeah.
Um,
And I think that's the perfect word. Get obsessed with it, you
mm,
know? Because if you get obsessed, then you'll always tend to it, you
yeah,
know?
we'll
Yeah.
all have a good time.
Mhm. Yeah. I think that my wife has started a bit of a tradition for me. A couple of years ago, she bought me the Office. Lego came out with an Office, the Office Lego build, uh, part of their like adult building sets or whatever. And I had never built Legos before. And talk about making little Jess happy. I
Mm,
had never built Legos before because they never really interested me. Um, to me, it was a very overwhelming task to come up with like
yeah, building a whole
an
set.
architectural plan to build something
Yeah.
with Lego blocks.
It's such a cute idea, but man, I'm the same way. I'm like, oh, these pieces,
That's
man.
not meant for me.
Yeah, yeah,
Now they all come with the, you know, the booklets with the
yeah.
instructions. So I built that thing in a day, you know, and I couldn't step away from it. I was like, "Oh my God, this is amazing." So
Mm,
anyway, so it's been a little bit, you know, it's been a couple of years now since I got one, just mainly because I've been busy again, right? Not taking the time.
mhm.
Um, but now Lego just dropped or is going to drop a Hogwarts a Harry Potter product called the Diagon Alley uh, Lego build,
Yeah,
and I'm a Potter fan for sure. Um, and yeah, so I'm gonna pre-order it, and so that it's waiting for me when I get back from Austin, and I'm gonna build it. And that is definitely something that I'm looking forward to. That one I won't be able to build in a day because it's definitely bigger. I think it's twice the amount of pieces than the office one. But I think every year, because of my occupation, I always have time off in January. I'm gonna make sure that I have a, you know, Lego set that I'm building. You know,
yes.
takes me away. It takes me away from everything. It's really just me, right? It's that me time that I'm referencing. So,
That's gonna be so fun.
hmm
And it's
Yeah.
good to stay indoors. Just build indoors. It's cold.
Yeah, just build. Yeah, exactly. Yeah. Yeah. So if you could be given a gift, right? Like I'm telling you what I would like for my students to give themselves. If you could be given something by someone, by an elder,
Mhm. I
what
mean,
would
I feel like you, my auntie, my grandma, like I get it. I get it all the time. It's just what's a good way to word it? I don't want to just call it help because I mean that just feels so vague. But it's like just a place to clear my mind, a person to help me get my set me straight, someone to listen, someone like I'm also kind of a little anti Christmas list. Like it's just gotten to the point where I'm like, if there's something that I really really want, maybe I'll buy it eventually. But it's it, like you just be so surprised at how people like can't show up for you, or they don't know how and they don't really care to learn how to. And I feel
mm,
like that really does mean a lot to me,
mm-hmm,
as someone
mm-hmm,
who's always constantly thinking, always in my head, just like I need someone to kind of help brainstorm that out and
mm-hmm,
things like that. So in a broad term, help. I love basic help and consideration,
mm-hmm,
and because I mean, not everybody can give it. Not everybody's had the space or capacity to give it. So it's like,
yeah,
if I know, like we're talking about being selfish with our time, but I mean, like that's also a really great gift you can give to somebody else because you never really know
mm-hmm,
what they're going through their semester, like their home stuff. Like sometimes people just you just need sometimes someone. Oh my gosh! Sometimes you just need someone to ask you what's up.
yeah.
How is everything going? Because I mean, ask yourself, when's the last time someone else has asked you that? I mean, you ask me every day, so I'm spoiled. I can't talk too much. But, like, I mean, it's real. And then, yeah,
But you acknowledge that that's not the norm for everybody all
it
the
is
time.
not. And then, I mean, for a while, me too. I mean, when I was during my undergrad, I mean, I've had, like, periods where, like, it's really easy, final season, and, like, if you don't have a lot of people who kind of understand what school is about and
Right,
how tedious it can be and how
right,
professors can be. It's like there's no one you could go to for that. So then
yeah,
you really got to turn into yourself, and then so you're carrying all this and with nowhere to put it. So then you're just heavy during the holidays, and I don't think that's fair on anybody. It's like, yeah,
mm-hmm,
I finished the semester, but man, I'm burnt.
yes,
Man, I'm like I can't even you
mm-hmm,
know.
yeah,
So I really a great gift is always going to be community, always an ear to and if I mean bring it up. I mean, I used to be the kind of student like I don't know why I would bring this up to you. Like you're not gonna care, but it's like okay, you need to go find somebody that does care then because that's not something you should be carrying. You
yeah,
know. So
yeah. That's a really, really great point. And it's really powerful because it's true. I know that a lot of us, you know, we spoke about this overall feeling in in a previous episode, this, or at least touched on it, this overall feeling of not being understood, not being seen, because you're the only one, because you're first gen,
hmm
right? And so nobody really knows, and it's not something that's being done on purpose, but it's just that nobody can relate to you, the experience that you're having, right? They just don't know. It's unventured territory,
yeah.
right?
hmm
um and so that doesn't go away, right? You're
hmm
carrying that all the time. That's always there. It doesn't go anywhere, right?
hmm
And so if you don't have, yeah, if you don't have an outlet, um, what happens, right? It doesn't just disappear.
hmm
You think it does, but
Yeah.
eventually it's going to catch up with you.
Yeah.
You know? So yeah, I absolutely agree with you on that. You
Mm.
absolutely need an outlet, you need support, you need help. It sounds to me like we could even describe it as refuge.
Mm. Yeah. So also some end of the year just maintenance. You gotta take yourself to the shop, man. You've been through it. You've been chugging all semester long, and yes, you need to go to that Jiffy Lube and get yourself right. Whoever that Jiffy Lube is, whatever that Jiffy Lube is, you know.
Whatever Jiffy Lube is.
Yes, seek refuge and reboot, recalibrate,
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
and then reflect. Yeah, see the 4 R's: reboot, reflect, recalibrate, and I
And
already got the first one.
you forgot the fourth.
All the re's, it's like, all right, you did it, cross the finish line, and now like how do you feel about it? Like you want to feel fulfilled in like your work this semester. You want to feel like, yeah, I really knocked that out. And I mean, I've had semester finishes where I'm just like, man, I don't even care. But as from student to student, like you're like the shit that you're doing is insane if you really think about it. If you really take in your day-to-day schedule,
Yep.
what you had to do to get to where you're at this point, who you had to deal with to get to where you're at this point, like that's not something that should ever be taken lightly.
Mm-hmm.
Even if it's like your first semester off, such a long way to go, it's like, work is work, man.
Mm-hmm.
And you did that shit. So yes, please nurture yourself,
Mm-hmm.
reflect on that. And
Mm-hmm.
I mean, I wish I knew how. I'm still working on it, like how to feel fulfilled with something. Like after all the work is done, like, because you just want to be tired. But it's like, no, no, no. You really need to figure out what's going to give you that fulfillment and that peace. So then you can walk into the next semester or the next phase, whatever, like, all right, I did that,
Mm-hmm.
you know?
Mm-hmm. Yeah. So important to be seen. So important to have someone in your life that understands this part of your life. I mean, I
Mm-hmm.
can't stress that enough.
Mm-hmm.
And that sounds like what you're saying as well. I mean, I did my education, and I'm going to call it in silence, for so long. It wasn't until I got to the grad school the first time when I got my master's, that I actually had somebody to engage with regarding my education.
Mm-hmm.
Um, and that was so awesome. Like, it was like the biggest treat in the world. And
Yeah.
it was my mother in law at the time. And it was just so amazing that I could talk to her about anything regarding school, and she just got it. She happened to be an academic as well. So she really got it. Um, and yeah, I felt rich. I felt like I had it all because
Yeah.
I had somebody that understood what I was saying. I didn't have to over explain myself. I didn't have to explain myself at all for that matter. I could just talk to her and she got it and she understood. Um, and it was never um, like minimized. Like my hardships at school were never like, oh, come on, you're just taking classes or whatever. Because that happens a lot. Oh, how stressed can you be? You're just in school.
And that's from the perspective of someone who does not know. And
Yep.
it sucks to say, but that is the reaction you may or probably have already gotten.
Yeah.
And it's nothing not
Got
a not
classes and a part-time job. Woe is me. Yeah.
oh man. That's
Mm.
a that's a full course load of school and
Hmm.
a job. Oh my gosh. Yes, everyone. You just have to if there's no one else who sees the work you're putting in, you really need to be that person for yourself too. Until you find someone that can kind of see you. Like that, I think that's how you feel fulfilled. It's like you have to give yourself that credit.
Yeah.
You
Yeah.
have to really hype yourself up because, yeah.
And the other point we need to not forget to add here is this is partly how you combat, or dare I say, prevent the development of imposter syndrome. Okay?
Yeah.
Because when you don't have someone that sees you, that understands what you're going through, that can say, hey, yeah, that was really, really tough. But look, you did it. Or look, you overcame it. Or look, you succeeded. Or look, you did well. When you don't have that on the other side, what happens? You start doubting yourself.
Yeah, it could make you feel like everything that you do kind of feels like whatever.
Yeah,
And
whatever.
I've had that too, but then that's when you got to learn to not seek validation also,
Right.
because that was what my whole platform was as a student, was purely for the most part to seek validation. And then when I realized I would not, I just wasn't going to get it. Like it shifts something in you because you're just like, well, what the fuck was this for? But then at the same time you're like, no, this was for me.
Yeah,
This was for me.
this was for me. Because I'm,
So the validation, I mean, I'm also trying to practice what I preach,
yeah,
but no, you have like validating yourself. There's such a power in it I can't describe, because then it's like who could tell you shit, you know?
right, right.
Then okay, if I don't need your words on it, if I,
Hmm.
it's so powerful. And I
Yeah,
wish if there's anything I could have instilled into 18-year-old Ayana, it's like, don't let these people tell you shit. You need to do what you want,
that's right.
and be proud of that.
That's right.
So,
That's right. And that's what I try to instill in my students.
and you do. That's
You
what I'm
know,
saying. It's crazy how.
it's like you have a voice,
Hmm.
use it, you know, and people, and that's why, down to this is why I stay quiet and make everybody sit in uncomfortable silence when I ask a question and nobody wants to participate and answer the question. I just sit there. And I said, "Don't worry. I'm good sitting in uncomfortable silence. I already have all my degrees.
Yeah.
You know." And
Period.
then if it continues, I get on a soapbox and I tell them, "Now here you all are, right? Wanting an opportunity to be seen, but then you don't take the opportunity to be seen. So it's important to have people that do see you, but then also so that you can learn how to see yourself from those people as well. Because learning how to validate yourself by yourself is, I mean, man, that's challenging. I'm not saying it's impossible, but it's really challenging. So being able to have someone to, at minimum, show you how to do that, you know what I mean, or guide you or remind you that you have to do that, right? Because maybe it's just a matter of practicing.
Yeah.
But it's hard. It's really hard. And a lot of us, right? A lot of us, and when I say us, I mean, first generation college students, we do come into college with already at least a skeleton of imposter syndrome already
Yeah.
pretty solidly put together, you know. Um, so, and the longer we let it live, the stronger it gets, you know.
Mm.
And I speak from experience. People always like, How on earth do you have imposter syndrome, Dr. Vega? I'm like, yeah, watch me write. My imposter syndrome sits right next to me and says, oh, we're writing today.
So, oh gosh. See, and that's another thing. Like you'd be very surprised at how many people really look up to you. And then you kind of just look at yourself in the mirror like, whatever, bitch. You need like it's crazy. Like what did Megan the Stallion Megan the Stallion had a lyric in his, and she said, "Bitches are killing the wait." Something along the lines of like, "Why am I killing myself when bitches are dying to be me?" There's a lot of people who want to be in your position. I mean, I know work probably stressful, school probably stressful, but I mean, shit, that's somebody's dream.
So ultimately, this holiday season, it's about the gift of you.
Mm-hmm.
I think that that's the focus, the gift of you. Because, they always say that we have to take care of ourselves before we can take care of other people. And given what we were talking about, what our new year, right, was going to start off with, I think that this is a good way to kind of prep for that, to kind of spoil ourselves a little bit,
Mm-hmm.
right? Um, take care of ourselves a little bit, right? Give ourselves a few gifts that not only will be really amazing to have, you know, Christmas morning, let's just say,
Mm-hmm.
but also carry them throughout next year as well.
Yeah. Learning the best ways to fill your cup, so then you're able to fill other people's cup, and then looking at your cup and being like, I filled that shit up. So what a better gift, yeah, for Christmas.
Mm-hmm.
Cup is very important.
Mm-hmm. Yep.
Yeah.
So whatever holidays we're celebrating this season, you can always be the best gift for you. So take care of yourselves this holiday season. Um, and we will get back on right before the semester starts, sometime in January, right, Ayana?
Yep, get y'all amped up. This
Yes,
cool down. We're about, and then next time it'll be the fire up. So
fired up. I know that some of us begin classes at the top of January, some of us more towards the middle, some of us more towards the end. I begin classes actually beginning of February. So we'll probably get it back at you probably more towards the middle of the month, give you
mhm.
a little time to get settled for those of you that do get started earlier in the semester. But for now, have a wonderful holiday season and a happy new year and be safe. And we'll talk to you soon.
Bye.